Welcome to Real Civil YouTube channel. I welcome all my dear viewers. Today we have selected a very interesting topic, that is open ground story failure. So here you can see one picture here in which you can see the building has failed during an earthquake. So that is very important. This phenomena is related to earthquake only. Okay. So what is an open ground story? Simple example of this is we know that in our building we keep the ground story. Here you can see we keep the ground story open. Open means what? There will not be any walls around the column. Okay, so there will not be any wall. These are called as open ground story. Generally we keep the ground story open so that we can park our vehicles here. Okay, so in order to study why these structures fail during earthquake, we need to understand 3 to 4 points that we will see one by one. First point is, here you can see story. The meaning of story means what? That is very important to know. It is nothing but, for example, this is your first floor and this is your second floor. Then spacing between the two adjacent floors is called as story. Next, this is very important, soft story. I'll read the definition first. It is one in which the lateral stiffness is less than that in the story above. Okay, so let's see one by one. First term coming here is lateral. So lateral means what? Generally horizontal. Okay, suppose if earthquake come, then this structure will move laterally, means horizontally. And second term here is stiffness. So I will give you one example here. Suppose this is your structure and this structure moves by 1 centimeter, and to move this structure by 1 centimeter I will require 50 kilonewton force. And second is similar structure, okay, one story. In order to move this structure by 1 centimeter I'll require 100 kilonewton. Okay, that means this structure is stiff and this structure is flexible. Okay, means stiffness means force required for unit displacement. So what soft story is? It is one in which the lateral stiffness is less, means what? Our structure is flexible, or that story, here you can see this story is flexible as compared to other stories. Okay, as compared to other story, that floor is flexible or story is flexible. Okay, that is nothing but your soft story. Now very important term is weak story. So it is one in which the story lateral strength. Now I have told you what is lateral, means horizontal. Now horizontal strength or lateral strength is less of that particular story, means open ground story. Okay, we study what is meant by story, we study what is soft story, we study what is weak story, and the final term is story drift. So what is story drift? It is relative displacement. This word is very important. Relative displacement between the floors above and below the story under consideration. Or simply, if I want to give you example, suppose this is a structure. Okay, and during an earthquake this structure say moves like this. Okay, so say this gets displaced by x4, this get displaced by x3, this get displaced by x2, and this by x1 mm. So story dips mean what? It is the relative displacement, say x4 minus x3. So relative displacement x3 minus x2, or here x2 minus x1. Okay, it is the relative displacement. Now let's come to our topic, why this structure gets filled. Here you are watching many examples on your screen. Those are getting failed because of stop story effect or weak story effect. Okay, in the open ground story, I have taken this photograph from the literature. Okay, so let's see what exactly happens through these two graphs. Okay, this graph is very simple. On x, on y-axis, here you can see story number. Okay, means these are your stories. I have represented like this. This is your first story, this is your second story, third story, and fourth story. And below this, or on x-axis, here you will see the displacement in centimeter. Means what? Your structure has displaced something like this. Okay, so this you consider only this graph. Okay, don't consider other 3 4 graphs are there, only consider this. So what exactly happens, that I want to tell you here. Okay, I will okay, let's see. So what happens generally, the ground story, here you can see this ground story is getting flexible, as I told you, and because it is getting flexible, it undergoes large displacement. Here you can see it has moved from 0 to 20 centimeter. Okay, but the stories above are act as a one unit. Means you can see this second story is I think around 21 mm, and this final story is also around 23 mm. Means the stories above are not getting much displaced as compared to this ground story. Okay, this is what happens in the open ground story. That story becomes flexible and it get displaced by more amount. As it get displaced, the stresses will be there in columns. Okay, similarly here you can see I have explained you what is the meaning of drift. Okay, so here you can see drift at the open ground story is very large, and because of this you can see a very large drift, and then there is very less drift in the other floors. So that is the reason when you see your ground story, open ground story, it gets flexible, because here you can see, I will take you back, I will just clear this. Now here you can see this is your ground story. Okay, this is your ground story, and these are your upper stories. So what happened, the presence of wall, here you can see on all over the floor, or in this story there are walls, and because of these walls this story is getting stiff. Similarly this story is getting stiff. Okay, as here you can see there are no any walls, that story is little flexible, and because of this flexibility we have seen this story gets a very large displacement, and because of this very large displacement, here you can see in this picture also, the members get stressed, and because of that our structure fail. Here you can see hardly very less displacement and drift. Okay, and this is why as the story is open it gets flexible, and because of flexibility it undergoes large displacement, and because of that our structure fails. Here also you can see a large displacement at the ground story. Okay, so this is the reason why the open ground story fails. But this open ground story condition or soft story condition can be anywhere in the building. Okay, generally open ground story is soft as well as weak, but it is generally considered as a soft. Okay, this soft story can be anywhere, okay, in the structure, but in this video we are particularly talking about the open ground story, means we have left the walls, we are not going to construct the wall because we are going to use this for parking purpose. Okay, so thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe Real Civil YouTube channel. Thank you so much.